going on, people? What's happening? Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Big up to everyone locked in. Happy Monday, guys. I hope you are all doing well. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You guys know, the rules here, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and then you hit the like button. We got a lot to talk about. Actually, not that much, but some stuff that are, I don't want to say triggering me, but it's making me a little bit concerned, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit concerned because it's 2025 and we are linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Wilfred Ndidi. That is completely 2019. If you had told me right now that I have been in a coma for 6 years, that would probably be the first question I ask. Have we signed Calvert-Lewin? How have we signed Ndidi? But you're telling me in big 2025, that seems to be the best that Manchester United got for us. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Marcus Rashford. We're going to talk about Jadon Sancho. We're going to talk about Javi, Guerra, who I'm not too sure if he's actually linked to United or if it's AC Milan trying to push Valencia. But we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about players returning back for pre-season. Today's the day they've all returned back, including Luke Shaw, including Mason Mount, including Ahmad, including Heaven, and Mateus Cunha reports for his first pre-season at Manchester United. Mina, how's the leg? The leg is recovering. Thank you very, very much. Physio's going well. Recovery's going well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to talk about Rasmus Højlund as well. We're going to talk about Onana because reportedly Manchester United have an internal price tag for him, but they are happy with him and they are not looking at an upgrade, contrary to popular belief. We've been talking a lot about Emi Martinez. We've been talking a little bit about Diogo Costa during the transfer window, but it sounds like Andre Onana's future at Manchester United could be safe for the next 12 or so months. So we're going to talk about that as well. And on the other side of the Premier League, guys, people are making moves. Arsenal are making moves. Chelsea are making moves. Gyökeres to Arsenal. In that same breath, Kudus to Tottenham. And we're still waiting to hear about what the hell is going on with Brian Mbeumo. A strong part of me, guys, strong part of me is thinking that there's something going wrong behind closed doors. I don't know what it is. I just feel like this can't all be delayed because of a couple of million in add-ons and negotiations. There's something is not right. And I feel it in my stomach and something's not right because there is no way on earth it takes this long to get a deal done. And you're seeing rival teams. I don't even know if I can say rival teams because they're competing for titles. We're not. But the Arsenals and Liverpool and Man City, everyone, Chelsea, they're getting moves done quickly. Chelsea, it was announced that they were swooping in for João Pedro. Within a couple of days, it was announced. They were swooping in for Gittins. A couple of days later, we're seeing him at the Club World Cup. Before his official announcement, by the way, we're seeing him after the game on the pitch with Chelsea. Kudus to Spurs. Listen, I think that would be a top signing, depending on where they're going to play him, because I don't see Mohamed Kudus as a left-sided player. I see Mohamed Kudus more predominantly as a second striker, i.e. like in that 10 role or coming off the right. I don't know what that means for Brennan Johnson, but I think Kudus is an upgrade on Brennan Johnson with Solanke, depending on who they have on the left. If you're telling me their midfield will be like a double pivot of what Basuma and Kulusevski with Maddison in the 10, I think that's a damn good front line, guys. It just means on the left, whoever they get for Son, or if Son stays, I know they've been looking to offload him, even though they gave him a 1-year extension. So if they do look to sell him, if they get an upgrade on there, I think that's a good front line. Gyökeres, Kudus, Kulusevski, Maddison, given that they all stay fit. Mina, why did you not fancy Gyökeres at United? It's not that I didn't fancy him. Out of the ones that we were linked to, he wasn't my preference. You guys always know Victor Osimhen has always been my preferred number 9, but I always said that it was him. It was Osimhen. When we were linked to Delap, for me, it was Osimhen, Gyökeres, Delap. That was the order in it. But I would have been happy with any one of them. For me, what shocks me the most is Gyökeres is everything that I think Arsenal need. And I made a brief video about it, talking about it. I think Gyökeres answers a lot for what Arsenal need. But I'm just shocked that they're the only team that's been in for him. It's crazy that there's not really been anybody else snooping around him. Now, I know that I've seen reports that he's willing to pay money out of his pocket to get the move. And I think that just because the relationship is completely severed at Sporting, I think it's only inevitable that he will leave. And I think he's made it clear, like, guys, he's made it clear from day one that he wanted Arsenal out of all the teams that were in for him. I don't think United ever stood a chance, if I'm really being honest. I don't really think that we ever stood a chance in signing him, because I think once it was known that publicly his preference was Arsenal, he was going to push to get that move. And I remember doing a video that day on the weekend when it was reported that he rejected United, and a lot of United fans felt like it was a bit of copium. Everyone was like, oh, he hasn't rejected us. He prefers Arsenal. That is exactly what a rejection is. When somebody prefers to go somewhere else over you, that's a rejection. And once the public knew that he wanted to go to Arsenal, there was only ever one team that was going to come out on top, and that was Arsenal. And there's not really any, I think, fault in that, because I feel like Arsenal have a lot more to offer Manchester United, and we have to be realistic in that fact. They got Champions League football, they're competing in the league, their squad is a lot more, I would say, cohesive and a lot more advanced than where Manchester United are. Gyökeres is in a position, in my opinion, where in his career he needs to win now, because he's not getting any younger, He's not getting any younger. He's not like the strikers, like Delap, like Ekitike, etc., that could take a 1 year, 2 year growth hit and join a developing team and a developing squad. Gyökeres needs to win and compete now. So him going to Arsenal makes complete sense for me. It makes complete sense. And when he publicly said it, I don't see him going anywhere else but Arsenal. Osimhen prefers Chelsea. Someone just asked about Osimhen in the chat. Here you go. Do you think we will try sign Osimhen? Let's actually start with that. I wasn't going to start with that. I was going to start with Rasmus Højlund. But we can actually start with Osimhen, because I think, guys, you don't know I want Osimhen so much, but I'm starting to accept that he ain't coming to Manchester United. I'm starting to accept that. Why? Because Galatasaray have sent a formal bid for Victor Osimhen, which is a total of 50 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. Napoli want more. However, Osimhen is keen on a return to Galatasaray, and Al Hilal are the only team that are ready to pay his 75 million release clause, but there's no agreement with Victor Osimhen. So Victor Osimhen's got an agreement with Galatasaray. Galatasaray is ready to go all out for him. They got the money to spend. It seems like a lot of Turkish teams got money to spend this summer. And it's been made very clear that Manchester United are not going to go for Victor Osimhen. And by the way, this is coming from Fabrizio, that's reporting about Galatasaray news. In terms of the journalists, many different journalists have publicly come out and said that Manchester United are not really looking at him. And it was reported that he was Amorim's favourite. But I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't see a world where Victor Osimhen joins Manchester United with a pay cut. I don't see that happening. And I don't agree with it. But I would be a hypocrite, guys, if I sat here and I said that whatever Ineos are doing regarding the wage situation and the wage structure that they're trying to build at Manchester United, I would be a hypocrite if I said, oh, you should break it for one player. Now, I don't know how you guys feel. Do you guys feel like a player like Osimhen's kind of caliber, United should just do a one-off kind of break the bank for him and give him that salary that he wants? Then again, where would that put you with other people? But I'm also split on that decision sometimes, where I'm like, you know what? The best players in Europe, the best players in the world, you pay them the best amount of money. That is what differentiates you. Now, historically, Man United haven't done that. And historically, Manchester United have paid mediocre players some extravagant salaries. So I understand that they're skeptical to do that. But Victor Osimhen is one of one. When it comes to his type of profile, what he offers, he is, I don't want to say a unicorn, but he is one of one in terms of the strikers that are available on the market right now. Like, no disrespect to Galatasaray. I think Turkish football is elite, yeah? And they have fans that some European leagues don't have, yeah? With saying that, Victor Osimhen choosing to stay in Turkey, for me, is a situation of him having his cake and eating it too. He wants to remain in and around the areas of Europe, still close to Nigeria in terms of his national level, but he still gets to stay in Europe. He doesn't have to go to the other side of Europe, to the Middle East, and go over to Saudi. The clubs that want him in Europe can't afford him financially. So when you're looking at the teams that can afford his salary, is Galatasaray and Al Hilal. Manchester United are not in that bracket, guys. And I know this is so hard to say, because I am coming to a realization this window. When I've seen us linked to Ndidi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm starting to deep, you know what? We actually ain't all that. We're not all that. I'm seeing our age mates, our competitors, our Premier League competitors, albeit they are on a different level than us right now. They are all signing the best player in a position that they're looking at. I don't know if you lot have noticed. Liverpool have signed Florian Wirtz. He's the best in Europe, in my opinion. He's one of the best in his position. Arsenal are about to sign Gyökeres. In my opinion, in Europe, Gyökeres is one of the best strikers in terms of output this season that has just passed. Manchester City signing, in my opinion, one of the best top 5 midfielders in Europe in Reinders. Everyone who is in the Premier League, Spurs are signing Kudus. There you go. Spurs are signing Kudus. We are linked to flipping Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I'm seeing people trying to justify that. People are trying to justify Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Manchester United when all United have to break the bank for Osimhen. But they can't do it because we are really, really, really dealing with the consequences of our misfortunes from previous years. Unfortunately, big up to Ridwan says no one dreams to play for Galatasaray. Let's be honest, he wants a top team. If he really wants to play for us, drop your wages, or you don't really want to play for us. Yes, because we don't plan to sell Osimhen. Why put young players on high amounts if you're going to sell them? I hear that. Shaquille says we finished 15th last season. I think if we want world class players, you got to pay the price. Yeah, I think you got to pay the premium. You got Rasmus Højlund. It's being reported about players like Rasmus Højlund saying, I want to stay at Manchester United. He will only leave if the club decide to sell him. I've seen Man United force out players that are better than him. And I don't mean this in a tit-for-tat way, but I've seen Marcus Rashford forced out of the door. There is no reason. I get that the circumstances are different, but have you guys noticed it's always the crap players that are saying that they want to stay at Manchester United and they want to fight for their spot? It's always the Mason Mount, Andre Onana, the players that we do not want at the team, and the players that we do not, I don't think, improves the starting 11 in any capacity, are the same players that are saying that obviously they're not going to come out like Marcus Rashford and say, I want to leave. These men are paying their bills, and they know they're probably never going to get a wage or salary like they're making at Manchester United. But it is just very underwhelming the fact that United can't shift anyone. Like, forget the players that you want out, like the Sanchos and the Antonys and whatnot. Even the players that you know are not good enough to play for Manchester United, we still can't get them out of the door. It's so underwhelming, bro. The guys, I'm not being funny, but this summer transfer window is really, really, really starting to hit me now. It's Monday, the 7th of July. It only took me a couple of weeks. Some people say as well, oh, the financial year just ended. I promise you guys, the lack of United transfers has nothing to do with the fact that the financial year has just started. Don't let people hoodwink you and pull the wool over your eyes. The financial year has no difference. Why? Because if Manchester United were to buy a player in June, they could choose to finalize that deal on July 1st. And that would then be in the new financial year. So let's not kid ourselves, and don't let anybody else kid you. Manchester United are probably having, and it's premature to say, but when I look at a lot of other teams, I'm thinking, this is not a team that's finished 15th. This doesn't seem like a team that's finished 15th, that has no sense of urgency. There is barely any urgency in the way that Manchester United are moving in the transfer window. And you wouldn't think it's a team that have had their worst campaign. And I hate this notion and this idea that we have to sell to buy. Manchester United have unfortunately never been a sell to buy club. But now we find ourselves being one because of the financial implications of previous years. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very, very underwhelmed with the transfer window. Whilst we're talking about, whilst we're actually talking about the type of players that we're linked to, let's just talk about this. Because I'm not kidding, guys. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was so shocked yesterday. I couldn't even do a video about it because I couldn't fathom the reality of this having an inkling of truth to it. But the more I read about it, all respect to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I liked him like 7 years ago. Wilfred Ndidi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, are we in 2019? Are we in 2019 to be linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Wilfred Ndidi? I'm not joking, guys. If I fell into a coma now and I woke up and the first piece of news I heard is Man United are linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I would have thought I was in 2019 when he scored double-digit goals. 3 out of the last 4 seasons, I think he's missed more than 10 games. 2 out of those seasons, I think he missed more than 25 games. He's a guy that struggled to find his footing. Even when Everton brought in Beto, who wasn't even a prolific striker, he still struggled to make any sort of impact. He still struggled to make any sort of impact. I can't remember the last time I watched a game for Everton in the last 3 years and I thought, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, yeah, he's a bit of me. He's the kind of striker I'd want at Manchester United. I'm not kidding, guys. This is bottom barrel. This is actually bottom barrel. Now, Fabrizio Romano was reporting that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been offered to a number of clubs, including Manchester United. However, there's no updates at the moment. There is no optimism. Ash, I promise you, there is no optimism. At least when we were buying Casemiro, can I say? At least when we brought Casemiro was still at the top of his game. Yes, he was on the decline, and Real Madrid were bringing in Tchouaméni, so they had to kind of offload someone. But Casemiro was still a good player, still playing at national level, still playing in Real Madrid squad, still making impact. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is none of that. And again, I don't want to be mean to him, because I never want to be mean to any footballer, guys. But I'm just talking about his footballing ability and what he's done over the last number of years at Everton, especially like the last 3 to 4 years. Like I said, if you told me in 2018 United linked to Calvert-Lewin, I'd be like, all right. I'd be intrigued to hear more. But in 2025, we have no business at all being linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And maybe it's just, again, he's being offered around by his agent because he's been released by Everton. I know, Heartbreak Kid, I know it's only a matter of time before we're linked to Callum Wilson. And you know what's crazy, guys? I actually tweeted this earlier today. If you don't follow me on Twitter, come through, follow me on Twitter. I tweeted saying, is there any United fans that wouldn't actually mind us signing Calvert-Lewin? Because there is no way United should do this. That was my tweet, yeah? I got about 60-something replies, a couple of people saying basically yes. One of my actual friends that I know personally actually replied to it and said to me, I'm okay with it if it's a 2-year contract with reduced wages and heavy incentive based on him being fit, similar to the Owen deal. I don't agree. Someone else said to me he could well be our Origi. Absolutely not. Someone said it all depends on what role we give him. Honestly, chasing a game, I'd prefer to have DCL instead of Maguire up front. If it's a pay and play related deal and he's seen as our third choice striker to throw on in the last 20 minutes when we're down, then why not? Someone said I couldn't care less. DCL on a free isn't bad at all. A lot of people are liking the idea of him as a backup striker, but then, you know, some people have turned around and said, I'll stop watching football if we sign him. I wouldn't even take him as a backup to the backup striker. Someone saying he's a good backup striker. Everyone is, you know what's crazy, guys? That's how you know we've lost it. Because we're all trying to find a silver lining in all of this. My leg is doing better, Wesley. Thank you. I'm recovering. Thank you so much for asking. Calvert-Lewin, Watkins versus Wilson. I'm taking Watkins, man. I'm taking Watkins every single day of the week. The other two do not come up to scratch with Ollie Watkins in his last number of last 5 his last 5 seasons in the league. Neither of them, I don't think, come up to par with even his worst season out of the 5. If I'm being totally honest. Maybe I'm doing a bit of revisionism. The thing is, though, when I watch Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm just scared he's always going to get injured. Like, when I watch him for Everton, he's always looking like he's about to get injured. The poor guy has not been lucky when it comes to his injury record. I think he's had, let me see. He's like I said, he was missed 15 games last season, 6 games the season before that, 29 games the season before that, 33 games the season before that. So you see, he's not been doing it. He's not been doing it. And I promise you lot, there's no silver lining in this. There's no silver lining in this. It's embarrassing to Watkins when you compare him to Lewin. I agree. One thing he does have is he has hops, way better aerial duels than Højlund Xerxes. Everything else about DCL is trash. Sorry. You know what I don't get though, yeah? And Ridwan, this is not aimed at you. This is just aimed at everyone. When we talk about he's better than Rasmus, we shouldn't be using Rasmus Højlund or Xerxes as the bar. I know you're not. You're just saying that he's better in the air than the two of them are. And that's the only thing he has on them. But that and anything else is not necessarily a good thing. Let's stop using Rasmus Højlund as the bar of what we need to compare strikers to if United are going to sign them. Instead, why don't we actually look at what value they have as players and what they are doing over the last number of seasons? Because you can compare me with one knee to Højlund, guys. I ain't too far off. I'm not too far off. So let's not compare any striker that United are linked to for like to what we have, because 99.9% of the time they're going to be a direct upgrade on what Manchester United have had. Let's be honest, guys. Manchester United have failed to hit the 60 goal mark for 3 years in a row in the Premier League, and then you think that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the answer to that? The fact that United have, in my opinion, what would have made me think, okay, I rate Ineos a little bit and I rate Manchester United a little bit, is that they saw last season that we couldn't score goals, and they go out and sign someone that scored 30 goals in a season back to back. I would rate that. I would have so much respect for that. And I'm not gonna lie, Cunha and Mbeumo, I don't even know if we're gonna get Mbeumo at this point. So let's only just talk about Cunha. Cunha will address a little bit of the problems, but not all of it. You can't expect him to carry the full weight of the burden. So I don't know how Manchester United see the fact that we haven't scored 60 plus goals in the league for 3 years in a row. We've spoken so much last season about our conversion rate and the ability to convert any chances. And you think, you know what? Let's go and sign the guy that Everton just released. Yeah. The same Everton that we're fighting relegation how many seasons whilst he was number 9 striker. Let's go and sign him. Big up to Rich, says, minutes bad, isn't it? Like proper bad, like really, really bad. We aren't Man United anymore. We're like a shadow of our former selves, and it's proper hit now. You know what? It hit me this weekend, guys. When I saw the whole Gyökeres to Arsenal stuff, when I saw the Kudus to Tottenham stuff, when I saw obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin linked to United, I thought this is us. This is our reality. And if you dare try question it, everyone's going to say that you're getting onto Ineos too much and that you're an Ineos hater and you're toxic and you're this and that. But I don't know how that, again, I try not to be as too critical, and I try not to be too harsh when I'm being critical in a disrespectful way. But there is no way that anybody believes that Ineos are doing a good job this transfer window. I don't think you can be doing a good job. I don't think there's anything in me that believes that Ineos are doing a good job. And the Mbeumo thing is one thing, right? But even the way that these outgoings have been handled, the way that things have played out in public eye, etc., I just think that I don't think we're ever going to get players like Gyökeres or Osimhen. Losing the Europa League did it to us. Who lost us the Europa League? Let me ask you guys a question. Like, who do you think lost us? I think it's a domino effect of so much stuff, guys. I think, because I remember when we signed Cunha, we were signing Mbeumo, everyone was like, oh, maybe losing Europa League was a silver lining, you know? I remember a lot of people saying that. And I was thinking, you don't even know the raft that we're about to fill. But it has to be experienced for United to have the shake-up that they need. But this ain't shaking United in any sort of way. I think what has been the part that has started the domino effect, it probably was that Europa League loss. But this was crumbling from a long way before the Europa League loss, when it was normalized for us to be losing Premier League games because we were focusing on Europa League. And the worst thing is that the lower you finish in the table, guys, the less you gain financially, right? United were all about the finances, all about the money, and they were happy to throw away Premier League games and improvement in the Premier League for Europa League that was no guarantee they were going to win, number one. Number two, Bruno Fernandes and that Al Hilal situation, we're going to come back to this in 12 months' time. when we have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when we got Wilfred Ndidi, when we got flipping someone like that guy, what's his name, Ramsdale, all of them guys, when we got them guys in Man United shirts, we're going to come back to the Bruno conversation, right? Because I think that Bruno thing is another contributor to our summer transfer window, because we talk about money so much. And a lot of people believe that United didn't need the money. Even him himself, or in a report himself, when Fabrizio announced that, he was staying, it was reported that Bruno Fernandes said Man United don't need the money. The same Man United that are poor financially, that their cash available and their revolving credit facilities is nearly on nil. That's the same person that's saying Man United don't need the money. If they wanted me to go and they needed the money, they would have said to me, leave. What it sounds like is there's a lot of people United are not telling to leave. There's a lot of people. Rasmus Højlund is saying he's only going to leave if United tells him to leave. That sounds like a threat. Andre Onana, he is saying he's only going to leave if United is going to tell him to leave. But at the moment, no one's told him to leave. Bruno Fernandes, same thing. Man United selling Bruno Fernandes would have saved us slightly in this transfer window. Not completely. But when United make these stopgap signings, these cheap signings, these free signings, everyone's going to come back to the financial position of Manchester United. And the biggest part of that is how Manchester United have failed to sell this window. Big up to Aki. Been a member for 19 months. Says, is he better than Rasmus? Yes. Will he perform better than Rasmus? Yes. Is he cheap and PSR good? Yes. Is he viable? Yes. Give him a chance. Is this what we call standards, guys? Honestly, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, and I respect everybody. You lot know I respect everyone's opinion, and I always want to hear what everyone has to say. But is this what we're set? Are we really trying to find a silver lining in the cloud for this? There is no way on earth that people can somehow find a way to believe, you know what, this Dominic Calvert-Lewin thing might be a decent thing. Just for some context, yeah. And I said this already. Just because he's an upgrade on Rasmus does not mean Man United need him. I told you, look, me with one knee on crutches, I am better than Rasmus. Put me up front, I could score you 10 goals. Calvert-Lewin this season, 3 goals in the league, 7 the season before that, 2 before the season before that, 5 the season before that. The last time he scored double digits was in the COVID year. COVID. Do you know how much stuff has happened since the pandemic, guys? A lot of stuff has happened. What has happened? We got Teslas. I don't think Teslas were really that popping. What has happened in the last 5 years, guys? My niece wasn't even born, and now she's going to school. So that's a big deal. Anyone that was in university 5 years ago is probably working in the corporate world now. Anyone who started high school, for UK purposes, guys, if you started high school, you would have finished by now. COVID happened. Boris was still prime minister. There you go, Imran. Do you know how many prime ministers we've had since then? We've had Liz Truss. We've had Rishi Sunak. We've had this other guy now, Keir Starmer. We've had a lot. Do you know how many managers have Man United have since then? We've had Oli. We had Ragnick. We had Ten Hag. Now we're on Amorim. A lot has happened since the last time he scored double-digit goals, and that's probably the last time he was quite fit. He was good under Ancelotti. Too bad that was 5 seasons ago. Been regressing since. That's the thing. A lot of people are holding on to what he was 5 years ago. And not just him, by the way. This is a lot of players. Whenever we're linked to someone, people think about what they were once upon a time. Just because he's better than Rasmus, please, let's not use Rasmus Højlund as the bar for anything. We shouldn't be. If anything, we should be using him for the bar for what people shouldn't be. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to Rasmus Højlund, but he's just not delivered at Manchester United. And some of it's not his fault, but some of it is his fault. So we should more so look at, if United are linked to a young striker that has played less than 50 games as a starter for their team, and we're linked to them for 80, 90 million, okay, then compare that to Rasmus Højlund. But don't compare every striker that we are linked to Rasmus Højlund. Big up to SJ, says, Spurs fan here. Oh, damn. Spurs fan, but huge Mina fan due to your insane ball knowledge. United still have that privileged gene, and I don't know why. Big up for the super chat, SJ. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. When you sign Kudus, enjoy that, because it must be nice. Can I just say, guys, if Spurs get the here we go for Kudus, and Arsenal get the here we go for Gyökeres. Yeah, I hope you lot know Man United are taking us for a rodeo. If they get that before United get the here we go for Brian and Bumo, I hope you guys know that Ineos and Manchester United are taking us on a joyride, and they're unserious. They are unserious. Do you know how much stuff has happened in the last 5 weeks? Since it was announced that United were making their first bid for Brian and Bumo and he preferred Manchester United, do you guys know how much stuff has happened in the just generally speaking? So you're telling me it's a possibility that Spurs could get their here we go for Mohamed Kudus, and Arsenal could get their here we go for Victor Gyökeres, and Chelsea will probably sign someone else because that's what Chelsea do. And we're still going to be sitting here talking about the third bid for Brian and Bumo. They're pulling the wool right over our eyes, guys, and we're not even flinching. We're not even flinching. And you know what? Journalists are making it even funnier, can I just say? Because Fabrizio Romano was reporting today that Manchester United's absolute focus remains on Brian and Bumo deal, with talks set to continue this week. No agreement with Brentford last week, but United keep working on it. And Brian also keeps giving priority to United move. I think Fabrizio should just stop reporting on. I think every journalist should stop reporting on this Brian and Bumo move until it's actually a here we go. That's it. That's it. Just stop. Because what do you mean Man United's absolute focus remains on Brian and Bumo? Their focus has been Brian and Bumo every week, so nothing's really changed. You know that their focus has been Bumo every single week because United cannot do another transfer. You know, United will only work with one transfer at a time, right? So until that Brian and Bumo thing gets done, they ain't moving for anyone else. They are not moving for anyone else. So please, this is a PSA to every single journalist out there. I get it. It's the transfer window. You have to drive some clicks to your websites, etc. I know your editors are probably telling you lot to push these Man United, Brian and Bumo stories. Just call it a day. All of you lot call it a day till you get that here we go. Till you get that. What are you talking about? People were reporting that Man United had booked medical, and on top of that, it was basically the transfer was done. People were saying deal's done. I am tired of this Brian and Bumo thing. I am tired of it. But I also think, can I just say, guys, I don't know if you lot agree. I miss the days when I would just sit and watch Sky Sports News all day and just wait for, you know, the yellow banner that comes up on the bottom to say breaking news. Man United signed Robin van Persie, or breaking, like, I miss those days when it comes to football transfers because of the day and age we live in social media. And it's not just football, by the way. It's kind of similar in the NBA when it comes to trades and the draft day and trades, etc. You always want to consume information and consume news all the time, right? And I think football is one of those things where if you look at anyone that's a content creator, for example, and if they make content on like tech, or they're a gaming content creator, or they don't really have a lot of stuff to talk about every day. Whereas football, the world of football moves so much that you will always have something to talk about, especially, and then when it comes to transfer windows, because of the amount of media consumption that we consume as consumers, I'm saying the word consume too much, but you don't get the point. They're just going to keep feeding us and we're going to keep taking it. It's like there's something hooked to our veins and we're addicted. I miss those days where, I don't know if some of you lot remember, but even like going as far back before it was like Sky News days, like teletext, going on teletext and checking to see if there's any news on there. That's how long ago I'm talking. Now, when I see, like, for example, Fabrizio when he posts, the other day he posted saying, was it João Pedro will be announced in 9 minutes. I'm thinking, just let the club announce their player. Why do you have to announce their announcement? It takes the fun and the joy out of it. I can't remember. Probably the last time I was excited for a United transfer was probably Ronaldo. But even then, there was in the space of 24 hours, it went from him going to City to him going to United. But before that, I think Di Maria was the last time that I was excited for a transfer. And even then, I was on Twitter, but I wasn't consuming a lot of Twitter content for transfers. I used to just watch Sky News back then. Now, these like journalists are just, I don't know, man. this Brian and Boomer thing has kind of made me deep it. But make sure you hit the like button, guys. We've got 75 people here. Let's try and get 50 likes at the least. Let's try and get 50 likes at the least. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho quickly. It sounds like Jadon Sancho will be ending up at Juve again. I'm not 100% sure, but it feels like it. Juventus are expected to pay 25 million euros for Jadon Sancho, but there is still a small gap in what Jadon Sancho wants versus what Juve are offering. Juve's first salary offer was 5 million euros. I mean, that's nowhere near anything he earns at Manchester United. But they are reported ready to offer a new proposal. It's the merry-go-round, guys, that we're on right now. Sell to buy. And as United fans, I think we are just going to be holding on to these outgoings for as much as possible before we start to believe that United can make moves in the transfer window. And again, like I said, the domino effect that losing the European final has had is one thing. But I'm annoyed at the fact that with Jadon Sancho, for example, United knew since last summer that they would probably sell him this summer. And I know maybe they anticipated he might stay at Chelsea, but then they put a clause in that Chelsea could send him back and pay a fine. So again, it's not really that great of squad planning. Equally with saying that, I don't even think they anticipated that Ruben Amorim would be the manager in a few months' time after Sancho went out on loan. I don't think they anticipated that Marcus Rashford would be exiled from the team as well. Rashford, Sancho, Antony, 3 players that need to leave. Garnacho, 4. Malacia, 5. Those are 5 players on the chopping block, and we are Monday, the 7th of July, and there's barely anything for either of them. I think Jadon Sancho is probably the one that has the most news surrounding him, I want to say. He's probably the one that has the most noise surrounding him as well, if you want to say that. I don't know how likely out of the 5 of them, all of them will go. The fact that with Garnacho, we've seen the way that has played out. But we've seen the way that the situation with Garnacho has played out, and clubs now. I'm not being funny, guys, but you look at all the teams that are looking for a left winger. Nobody is interested in Garnacho now. Even the club that his agent was having talks with in January, and everybody, by the way, was okay with it at the time. It's crazy. In the middle of the season, his agent is basically advertising him to other clubs, Premier League clubs. That same club haven't sniffed a mile near him this summer transfer window. They've gone for Gittins. They've brought in João Pedro. They don't even look like they want to sign him. And I will take my words back if any news comes out in the next couple of weeks that Chelsea want to sign Garnacho. But even the most sellable person out of these 5 players, I don't even know how likely it is that Manchester United will offload him. Manchester United have done themselves a disservice, in my opinion. Not just with Garnacho, even with Rashford, even with Sancho, even with Antony. Tyrell Malacia, I think, might leave because he's probably going to leave for some peanuts and maybe just go back to the Dutch league. And I actually wouldn't even put him, I've already said this, I wouldn't put him in the same bracket as Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Antony, because he's not really done anything wrong in comparison to the rest of them. The rest of them have had situations unfold both publicly and privately. Rashford and Garnacho will stay. Then what? My question is, if Rashford and Garnacho stay, then what? What happens then? Do Manchester United now reintegrate them into the team? Does Ruben Amorim suddenly believe that Rashford is not as bad as he's been making it out for that he is? Suddenly the goalkeeper coach wouldn't start over Rashford? Well, what happens if Garnacho and Rashford both stay? Do you exile them both and drop them to the reserves under 23s? Tell them to go train with them, go play with them, go eat with them, go hang out with them, go clean your boots with them, go do everything with them. You can park in the same part of Carrington as them. What then? Because you just further depreciate their price. But then if you play them, what does that show? Does that show Ruben Amorim has no power over his players? Does that mean that Ruben Amorim has no power over his ownership? What would that mean? Because in an ideal world, whoever stays and they play until they leave. They're part of the squad. If you can add value to the team, then you play. But I promise you guys, Rashford and Garnacho, if they stay and they're exiled from the team, it will only get worse for Man United. They will not get a penny. They will not get a penny for either of them. Because once clubs realize that you want your player out, the negotiating power is in their position. And we've seen it many times, not just with United, but also with other people. Florian Plettenberg as well was reporting that Barcelona want to try again to sign Marcus Rashford and have reopened talks with him. Just on Marcus Rashford quickly, because he's been linked to Barcelona. Quite a few players have been linked to Barcelona as well. We've seen what happened with Nico Williams. I mean, that shocked me. I never expected that. I genuinely thought Nico Williams will be a Barcelona player this summer. And instead, he turned around and signed a massive contract with Athletic Club. I think he's earning like $350 a week, which is very unheard of for Athletic Club. And he signed a release clause in his contract, which I think is double of what the release clause is right now. And he signed a 9-year contract, a 9-year top-up. However, with saying that, now Barcelona are open to a left winger. I've seen them looking at Yildiz. They were looking at Luis Diaz, but it looks like Luis Diaz could go to Bayern Munich or he could go to Barcelona as well. But it's been reported that Barcelona want to try again to sign Marcus Rashford and reopen talks with him. Now, I was speaking to my mate who's a diehard Barca fan, who was saying to me that a lot of fans, and I've read this online as well, it sounds like a lot of Barca fans are open to the idea of Rashford, not on a permanent basis. They don't believe that he's worth this 40-45 million price tag. I think 40 million for Marcus Rashford is a damn good price tag. Like, I don't know what it is as United fans. We like to undersell our players, yeah? And I get it. You might not like the player, etc. But I'm seeing a world where, you know, Alanga's going for 55 plus. I'm seeing a world where Gittins has gone for 55 plus. I'm seeing all these players going for 50, 60 million. And you're telling me Marcus Rashford for 40 million is unreasonable. Unreasonable. He's got more goals than all of them guys combined. He's also better than Luis Diaz for me. I think, I don't know, it's weird one with Luis Diaz. Sometimes, like the beginning of the season, in Arne Slot's first couple of months, I thought he was rejuvenated, and then it's like he hit a wall, and suddenly he was unable to kind of make that impact that he had in the first couple of months. But when you go for talent, Marcus Rashford is up there. But talent isn't always going to get you through, guys. Like, talent is not always going to get you through. And that's applicable in any path of life, avenue in life. It's applicable. Talent is not always, ouch, I just hit myself with my chair. Oh shit. I was meant to adjust the back and then I just whacked it on myself. I hope you guys didn't see that. But yeah, talent is not always going to get the job done. Yeah, talent is not enough. Exactly. Like, I've been in situations, guys, where when it comes to like sitting exams and it's a subject that I was never good at, I had to work hard because that was the only thing that was going to help me to pass. And then the subjects that I was good at, I still had to work hard because just being smart enough in that subject was never going to help me. And that's applicable to every avenue in your life. But 40 million for Marcus Rashford in a market where I'm seeing players going for so much more. As United fans, I will say to you guys, please, 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 no matter how much you dislike players, let's not undersell them. Whether it's Garnacho, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Sancho, whoever it is that United are trying to offload, let's not act like 20 million for Jadon Sancho is reasonable. It's not. But United find themselves in a situation where they have to just take whatever they get for him. Should we apply that logic to every other player? No, we shouldn't. Do you think Anthony's going to leave? I think Anthony's going to push for a move. We've seen that he's willing to go on strike to go places, guys. He did the same thing when he wanted to join United. Of course, he was going from 20k to 200k, so of course he wanted to. I don't blame him for wanting to join United and going on strike. But he is definitely willing to do that stuff. And I think he's probably the only one that's probably going to put his money where his mouth is and take a pay cut to go somewhere. I don't think all the rest of them are going. I remember when Eric Ten Hag took over Bayer Leverkusen and Garnacho was linked to there. and it was reported that they were ready to pay the fee for Garnacho, but his salary demands, he was asking for a huge salary increase. I think Antony's going to be the only one that's happy to take a pay cut to leave, because I think he's just very, very keen. I think he's very, very keen to play any form of football at this point. Let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Big up to Kadeem, says, hello, Mina, hope you're doing well. I've not been doing good. My dad passed away last Wednesday, still processing things. I am so sorry to hear that, Kadeem. I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know what to say. I hope you're doing well. May Allah give you the strength. May Allah give you guys sabr to deal with this loss. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah grant your father Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la, inshallah, sending you love and blessings and dua and prayers. I hope you and your family are doing well. Honestly, I'm so sorry to hear that. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing it okay. I will definitely, I'll make dua for your father, and I'll make dua for you and your family as well. Mina, when you return on Straight Jacket, I should be on it tonight. I think we're doing it a bit later today. Yeah, well, I think we're doing it a bit later today, but I'll be back on Straight Jacket today. I think we're doing it at 8. I might be wrong, because you know, sometimes I don't be paying attention. 7:30. I'll be on it at 8. I'll be on it at 8. Some news on Andre Onana, guys. Manchester United have put a 30 million price tag on Andre Onana, but he looks increasingly likely to stay at the club this season. I promise you guys. A part of me thinks we're going to end up with the same squad we did last season, and the only outgoings we're going to have are going to be the ones who left. So Christian Eriksen, Lindelof, Johnny Evans obviously retired, and I think we'll have like 2 outgoings of all the players that are on the chopping block. By the way, I don't know if you lot remember, when United were in the mud, I mean, we're still in the mud, but when United were in the mud back in March, April times, do you guys remember the reports about how everybody is available to leave? Do you guys remember that? It was being reported at the time that everybody was available to leave. And now suddenly, it sounds like everybody is likely to stay. What has changed in the space of 4 months? Aside from United's financial situation, what has changed? Because we like a leopard doesn't change its spots overnight. So we are still like, if we go back into next season with the same or near enough the same squad, guys, we're gonna have a humiliation that we've never experienced before. It'll be worse than last season. It will be last and worst season. I was watching the Club World Cup. And I saw in the press conference after the game of Xabi Alonso, and he was talking about his system or the term system in football, and he was basically saying how, and I actually agree with him so much, and I also think it's lazy narrative to ever suggest that managers don't tweak stuff in game, because on paper, you go on FootMob, Real Madrid are lining up with a back three. They're lining up with a back three. You watch the game, it don't look like that. Al Hilal lining up with a back 4 in the game on FootMob, or wherever you check your lineups from. They got a back 4. When you watch the game, it's not like that. Managers are able to adapt quickly in game, which means that they anticipate stuff. Anticipation is so important, but also they're not prideful enough to think it's either my way or the highway. And I genuinely think with Ruben Amorim, there's some, I don't want to say toxic nature to it, but I don't like how rigid he is on that. Like, both managers that we've had between Erik ten Hag and Ruben Amorim, both of them have been managers that were very adamant that they're going to do what they're going to do. And I don't like that, because I said when Ruben Amorim takes over, I want to see a style of play, I want to see adaptability, I want to see accountability, however that looks like. I haven't seen that style of play, but when I have seen that style of play, it's never been consistent. So we haven't seen it over a consistent number of games. And on top of that, I've seen this back 5 way too much more than I've probably seen adaptability in game. The only times I really remember seeing the manager changing it up in game is when we were chasing results in Europa League, and you know that switching to to a back four, putting Maguire up top. I've seen that happen in Europa League. But if we're talking about like consistently over the Premier League, Amorim has been very firm in what he's going to do, and he's been very clear on it. But I don't necessarily think it's the best course of action. You lot might not agree with me, and I'm okay if you guys don't agree with me on that. But with saying that, back in March, we were talking about everyone being on the chopping block, and there wasn't one person that could hide from the reality of the transfer window that would come in the summer. And now you're telling me those same players are saying, I will only leave if the team make me leave. I want to fight for my place. Where was that fighting when United were crap last season? Because I didn't see no fight. If you wanted to fight, you should have fought then. It's a bit too late to fight now. And I know people are going to probably watch this back and say to me, Mina, it's quite unreasonable to expect United to just do a complete kind of change and a complete rebuild. Why are players allowed to report back for pre-season after finishing 15th last season? Like, generally speaking, a genuine question to you guys. I'm seeing people excited about these players returning back. Why? Why are they allowed to return back comfortably? And the ones that are not allowed to return back are the ones that didn't play a part in last season, guys. Let's deep that for a second. Like I said, is it right? No, I said it's wrong for these players not to be reporting back for pre-season. But equally with saying that, why is it that the players that are not reporting back for pre-season are the players that had no part to play in the way that the season played out? And the players that did have a part to play in it are being welcomed back with open arms, being told they don't have to leave. You can stay. You can fight for your place. There's no, I don't know. I feel like the winning mentality in this team is done. Problem is both Amorim and Ten Hag came from tech-type players to United's zero-tech team and low IQ cats. Same with Alonso. Easy to say that when you've got tech guys all over the place. Fairs. Mina, did you see Onana entering Carrington today with a smile? Oh, come on, man. Of course he's going to be smiling. Like, he's returning back to work. You get to play for Manchester United. I don't agree with it. He should have been on the chopping block as well. But if anything, I'm looking at the guys who are basically... I don't know, man. I'm on Ineos watch, guys. I am on Ineos watch big time. Amorim out is already pending before the game is even played for me. I think people will be Amorim out after like the third game. Cheer up, Mina. At least you get to see Gyökeres at the first game of the season. The good thing is I can always turn around and say, I didn't really want Gyökeres. So I can hold on to that. There's a little bit of copium there for me. In terms of the transfer window, guys, Mina, are you worried? Good question, Jimmy. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen with this Mbeumo thing. And if it doesn't, I think either way, something like newsworthy is going to happen. So United are going to end up paying a premium price that they waited this long and tried to negotiate this long just to end up paying it, or Brentford are just going to walk away from the negotiation table. It's going to be one or the other. So either way, it's either he's going to be a player at United or not. And if he's not a player at United, it's going to be humiliating. And if he is a player at United, it's going to be embarrassing, because I think Brentford are going to get exactly what they want. I have no real reassurances in Ineos and whoever they have at the negotiation tables. I told you lot weeks ago, Man United need to hire a head of negotiations who is ex like hostage negotiator. That's who they need to hire. They need to, the negotiator, head of negotiations at like the UN for hostage situations. That's who they need to hire. That's what United need. Because there is no way. I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I just feel like this Bryan Mbeumo thing is taking absurdly long. A lot has happened in those weeks since that first bid. And a lot of other clubs get transfers done a lot quicker. United are going to act like they're acting in the best way for the club. Oh, we don't want to be forced to pay X amount with Manchester United. This is how it's all going to be. Oh, we're doing things on our terms. I promise you, Man United are going to either pay what Brentford want, or Brentford are going to walk away. And either way, Man United are going to be humiliated because people are going to be like, look, they paid 70 million for Brian and Mbeumo and it took them this long to do it. They could have agreed these terms weeks ago. And I said earlier, but like, for example, look at Chelsea. João Pedro, news on a Monday, signed by Thursday. Like, the only thing that's moved a bit slow for them was Gittins, but that was because that they were bidding lower than what Dortmund would listen to. But the same thing again with other people. Kirkes, for example, to Liverpool. Bid sent on a Monday, player announced on a Sunday. Spurs now on their way to maybe get Mohamed Kudus. The news announced on a weekend, he signs the following weekend. I can imagine that happening. And here we are every day. We're looking at the clock thinking, is there any Brian and Mbeumo news? Will there be any Brian? And then they're feeding us other stuff to keep us occupied because we turn our attention away from Brian and Mbeumo. Why? Because we're sitting here for 30 minutes talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In our culture, we bargain till sunset. Same. Me too. Me, I'll go to the souk. I'll go to the shop. If I'm on holiday in certain destinations, and I'll haggle and I'll negotiate and I'll haggle. The first rule, guys, first rule of negotiations that I was taught when I would go to, different countries, don't speak English. Don't speak English. I'd go to the market and want to buy stuff, gifts, whatever. Rule number one, the people I'm with, we're not speaking English to each other. And when I'm speaking to the shopkeeper, I'm speaking in the most broken English possible. That's rule number one. Would that work, guys, if I tried to negotiate with Brentford on behalf of Manchester United? I don't think so. I personally, though, with this whole Mbeumo thing, I can't imagine that it's a couple of £1 million that's holding it up this much. A part of me feels like, because do you not remember Jadon Sancho, the first year we were meant to sign him, the first summer we were meant to sign him and we didn't. Dortmund were very stern in their price tag. No matter what Man United were offering, the talks continued all the way till the next year. Till what? Man United ended up paying Dortmund what they wanted. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily the same, but I don't think it's going to be that far off in terms of the fact that I think United are trying their best to negotiate and they're trying to offer less and they're trying to offer it in a way that works for them. Brentford know that the ball is in their court. They know the ball's in their court. And I'm pretty sure that they probably think if United walk away, we could probably keep Mbeumo. They've already lost Norgard. They've already lost Ivan Toney the year before that. They've got a new manager in. The new manager maybe can even find a silver lining in it and believe this idea that, I would like to have Brian and Mbeumo because it's my first year here. I'm still trying to figure things out. So Brian and Mbeumo could stay at Brentford. And what then? Man United would have just wasted 6 weeks. Do you know how long 6 weeks is, guys? Do you know how long 6 weeks is? I'll give you some context. When a movie comes out in cinema, 6 weeks later, it's still not in cinema anymore. Where I'm from, the movies stay in cinema for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Trust the process, Minna. I ain't trusting no damn process. It's in our DNA to handle transfers sluggishly. I'm preparing for the worst mentality. MW, though, my question to you is, I thought everything was meant to change with Ineos, right? Best in class. Footballing minds. I thought Jim Ratcliffe was coming in to create some resurgence at Man United and put us back on a pedestal, right? Because it was the best in class, the best in action, the best in football, this, that, la-di-da-di-da. And now, I think this is actually slower than previous windows. And I know I don't like to glamorize what Ed Woodward did at Manchester United because he was unhinged, yeah? But he was the kind of guy that would just go, what, you want 100 million for Mbeumo? Yeah, bam, here's a check. I think it was Harry Maguire. We paid the full transfer fee up front. Do you know how mad that is? He's like, Ed Woodward is like me when I'm playing FC 25 career mode. I don't want to negotiate, so I'm just going to pay whatever you ask me up front. But I feel like we've done a complete 180. We've done a complete 180 on that. And I'm just like, we're moving slow. Like, really, really slow. Like really, really, really slow. How many likes are we on, guys? All right, we're not that far off from 100 likes, guys. So make sure you like hit the like button on your way out. What we got coming today? We've got a video dropping shortly in about 30-ish minutes. So make sure you lot check that out. That's a United video, so make sure you guys check that out. I will be on the red carpet at 7 p.m. On United View. I think United View is about to hit 200k. So I'll be on there for the first time in, it's been a long time since I've been on the red carpet. And then I'll be on the Straight Jacket pod later this evening. That starts at 7:30. I'll be on it at 8 straight after the red carpet. So we've got a lot of content, man. There's some you guys can catch me on 3 different channels. 3 different channels in the space of 3 hours. So come through. We're going to have some more therapy. I'm sure Nuruddin has a lot. That guy's going to be screaming his head off about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I need to get my earplugs right now. But listen, guys, make sure you like hit the like button on your way out when I drop the video in about 30 minutes. Make sure you guys check it out. If there's any news between then and now, you lot know I will be live, of course. Minute, any watch-alongs coming? Let me actually look at the football calendar. No watch along for England women on Wednesday because I'm actually hosting a watch party with a brand on that. Chelsea versus Fluminense. I don't know. I could do a watch along for that. Damn, PSG versus Real Madrid 8 p.m. I might be able to do a watch along for that. But definitely, I will have a watch along next week Sunday. That's for sure. Is it Sunday? Yeah, next week Sunday 30th. Definitely will have a watch along for England versus Wales, which is at the same time as the Club World Cup. Damn. Okay, damn. But we'll definitely look it out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure out. I don't know. I'll let you lot know. Turn on your post notifications so when I go live, you lot will be notified. But anyways, we'll be back tomorrow, inshallah, with a daily dose of Mina. Big up to everyone. Make sure you lot hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Follow me on all platforms at Mina Football. You see, Mina Football is written everywhere, guys. So there's no reason for you guys not to subscribe and follow me everywhere. But I'll catch you lot all on the red carpet later on. If not, I'll catch you here on the channel tomorrow, guys. I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.